No matter how well cared for your flock is, there's always that chance that an accident might happen and your birds will be wounded. But how do you treat these wounds? Well, today, these guys are going to tell you exactly how to do that. One of our viewers, Angie Baker 9958, thanks for the comment, Angie, left a comment about integrating a young rooster into a flock of 5 hens. And I'm not going to read the entire post, but she's concerned about integrating a rooster and then adding more hens without disrupting the pecking order too much. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, really, any time you introduce a new bird into the flock, it's going to cause some disruption to the pecking order, but that's natural. That's the normal order of things. So if you follow normal introduction periods of a week or more, and then when you actually let the bird in with the rest of the flock, you keep a close eye on them and watch them to make sure they aren't hurting one another. It should go just fine. Now, keep in mind they're going to squabble a little bit to sort out that pecking order, but you want to make sure they're not violently attacking another bird or excessively attacking another bird. If so, then you want to re-isolate and kind of start that process over again, but maybe take a little bit longer with it.
Yeah, and she mentioned a couple of things which are both positives. One was a rooster. Mm-hmm. Roosters are generally easier to integrate than other hens because they kind of have this natural dominance. They quickly ascend to the top. There's not as much roughhousing or whatever that goes on there. That rooster kind of comes in knowing he's the boss and everyone quickly submits. The other thing is she's talking about adding more hens. If you can add chickens as a group instead of as an individual, that tends to work out better, right? The newcomer, if there's only one of them, she gets all the attention focused on her. But if there's 5, that kind of gets spread out. It's a little bit easier. So those are good things to keep in mind. The other thing to always remember, if we're bringing in new birds, make sure you quarantine those birds first for at least 30 days to make sure you're not bringing diseases or other problems into your flock.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there might be a lot of squabbling as you bring other birds into the flock, which kind of leads to our main topic here. So first of all, will they actually hurt one another?
They can, right? So if you don't do that proper kind of introduction, sometimes they can get pretty violent, and sometimes they can get crazy. Newcomers are intruders, right? We don't want them around, and sometimes even with a good introduction, you may have a bully in the flock who just isn't very kind, right? Picking on those at the bottom, that can lead to problems, that can lead to injuries, potentially in your birds.
Yeah, so other than maybe their flock mates picking on them, what else could be the cause of a wound?
Well, one unfortunate cause of wounds in poultry is predator attacks, right? And if they are able to survive a predator attack, there's a good chance they might have some serious wounds there. But there's other things. They might get stuck in a fence, and that might cause a cut or a wound. Maybe there's a loose nail in the coop or something like that they're going to brush up against, and it's going to cause a cut. All sorts of little things can happen to cause a wound in a chicken.
Yeah, so I can see if your chicken gets attacked by a predator and there's a big gash in it, you'd want to fix that. But how about the smaller cuts, maybe the poke against the nail or something? Can you just leave those to heal on their own?
You can, but and sometimes, right, that might be what we do, but there's always that risk, right? You have an open sore, that's an access point for bacteria and infection and other problems to get access to that bird. It's easiest just to take care of those, right? Get them in, get her cleaned up. Also, the other thing is even a small open wound, you get some blood showing, that often incites a behavior in chickens and other poultry where they like to start pecking and explore that. And pretty soon that small wound isn't so small anymore. And now you've got a couple of problems, right? You've got a more serious wound to that chicken, and you've also got some bad behaviors being established in your flock.
Yeah, that can actually get to the point where flock mates actually kill the bird that has the wound. So really, you need to take care of that problem, even if it's a small wound.
So it's best that we don't leave wounds We probably want to take care of them,
Yep.
look into them. So what's the first thing we need to do if I notice one of my chickens that has a wound?
Well, the first and the most important thing you can do is remove her from the rest of the flock to avoid those problems we just talked about where the other birds are going to peck at and open up that wound and make it even worse. So isolating the injured bird is going to prevent that from occurring, and you need to set up a good place for the injured bird.
I like to. I have an area right inside my coop, so I don't have to completely remove her, which makes reintroducing her a little bit easier later on. But you want it just a kind of a quiet, warm, dry area where she can heal, where you can take care of her, give her own water and food. Now you need to, once you've got her kind of separated where no more further damage can be done, now you got to kind of take a look and evaluate, okay, what have we got here? Is it a small cut? Is it, something that I can take care of here? Or is this beyond what I feel comfortable with in my skills? Do I need to get a vet or somebody involved? Yeah. And that's going to be, the next thing to decide, hey, is this something I can take care of on my own, or do I need to go someone else for help? And
if you're not sure, lean towards calling the vet.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm a YouTube mechanic. So I've decided, hey, I want to try to fix this wound on my own. Where do I start?
Okay. You start before the wound ever happens, right? By preparing kind of a chicken first aid kit, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to have chickens, that's one of the things that you really need to kind of invest in. And it can be a little tiny tote bag, or mine's in like a Rubbermaid container. Yep. And it's got just some basic supplies in there, right? I've got some scissors and tweezers and that kind of stuff. There's some gauze and some veteran spray, just some basic supplies that are going to help you be able to go in and get that wound cleaned up and disinfected. So
yeah, to clean the wound, you want to basically just get a small tub of lukewarm water, some disinfectant, and just gently clean the wound. If necessary, those tweezers that you keep in your first aid kit, if there's any like gravel or twigs or anything like that in the wound area, you want to pick that stuff out and possibly even use scissors to trim away some of the feathers from the area around the wound to make it easier to clean. And once it's clean, you want to apply some antimicrobial, like a spray like Vetericyn, and then bandage the wound.
So for those who haven't attempted this, how cooperative is a chicken when you're trying to do this to them, to clean up a wound and to fix it?
It's usually not too bad.
Right.
She's usually hurt, right? But if you're handling her gently and kind of talking to her, soothing her, holding her properly so that she can't flop around a lot, I've never had a problem where a chicken goes crazy. Be careful, because if she's got some road rash or whatever, and that's going to hurt. Just like if I'm picking road rash out of my arm. So be gentle, right? Put a damp towel on there for a little while, let it kind of soften and get some of that. If you don't find it until later and it's kind of already crusty, don't try and scrub that, right? Soften it first. Be gentle, right? But she's usually pretty sore. She's not in a mood to fight a lot, so she'll generally tolerate. Again, if you're being gentle, and then just carefully wrap it to keep stuff from getting in there, and then have a nice, warm, quiet, safe space for her to kind of heal.
And if she is fighting you on taking care of that wound, just get a dry, warm towel, wrap her in it, except the wound area, leave that exposed, and that'll usually calm her down and settle her down.
A helper is useful too.
Yeah, an extra pair of hands.
Depending on what you're trying to work with, that's really helpful.
All right, good information there. And after we get her all healed up or all taken care of, can you introduce her back to the flock once it's done?
Not right away. You want to keep her in isolation as long as she has that wound. So your chicken hospital or infirmary, whatever you want to call it, until that wound's fully healed. Because if you return her before that wound's healed, even if it's scabbed over, if it's exposed and the other birds can see it, they're probably going to start repecking at it and reopen that wound and possibly make things even worse.
Yeah. So again, keep her separate, keep her safe. Again, I like to have her still close by. That way, it
Makes the reintroduction
isn't
easier.
bad, but there will be a reintroduction, right? Well, she's out of that flock. They're going to kind of reset that pecking order. Now she comes back in. They're going to kind of reestablish that. Now, if she's been close and they've maintained contact, that goes pretty quickly. But if you've got her in the house, maybe it was a serious injury and you need to have her in, maybe it's wintertime or whatever, or you need to have her close. There's going to be a reintroduction period there as well. So.
All right. Well, good information there. Hopefully you guys can have a better idea of how to take care of your own chickens. And sounds like just be gentle, just treat them like your kids, huh? Better than your kids.
Better. My kids would say better.
Toughen up. It doesn't hurt.
And it's not a popular thing to talk about, but there is a time to consider, depending upon the injury. Is this bird, does it need medical attention, or does it need,
Do you need to color?
To be removed from the flock? If it's going to be, if there's a lot of pain or that kind of stuff, you may want to consider, hey, this, we've got other options as well. Which is never an easy decision or a popular one, but sometimes it's the right one. Yeah. So just look and see. Hopefully, it's not a serious thing. Usually, that's a predator attack that's been pretty devastating. Right. But I will say, I've seen chickens come back from some pretty gruesome injuries and be just fine.
I have
they are
one in my flock right now
birds,
that survived a predator attack.
But look at that, and sometimes it might be hey, do I have the funds to pay a veterinarian to take care of this? That's beyond my scope. So anyway, for what it's worth.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully none of you ever have to deal with a wounded chicken because it's not fun. But it's always good to be ready in case something does happen. So if there's something that you have in your first aid kit for your chickens that we may not have talked about or discussed, let us know in the comments below. Or if you have any other questions, comments, we'd love to read them. And if you haven't already, which I don't know why you wouldn't have, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate every one of you. Also, give us a like if you don't mind. And as always,
keep on hobby farming.